Yo, what's going on, everybody? This is Mysticall. Today, I want to bring you a video going over a feature I am absolutely so excited for, and that is for the nameplates and the additions that they've made to it in Midnight. And I want to go over what they've added so far, what they plan on doing, and maybe some tweaks that they could possibly do in the future. And with that said, let's jump right into the video. All right, so to get to the new nameplate features, you just go to Interface and go to Nameplates. And here, it'll kind of look similar, but if you scroll down, you can go to all the settings. And I just want to quickly go through the names and nameplates because they've done some really good quality of life stuff here. And I'm going to be honest with you, I don't use this on retail, so some of these might already be there. I'm not actually familiar with it, but I am excited for some of the things they've done. So this is just showing the names of players. So you could show your own name. You could show critters. Like if you just want to see people's names, there you go. It'll show up on nameplates. You can see my name there. I don't personally do anything like that. So normally I just have names completely turned off, but everyone's different. Of course, put your names on nameplates if you want. And then the next section is the actual nameplates. So what I normally do is always show nameplates, which will always have them shown. And then enemy units, you can show or hide them. I feel like most players are going to want to show enemy units. And then this is very cool. So this might be on retail, it might not be, but they split up different minions that you could have. So the first one is it'll show guardians, pets, and totems. So that's really nice because this will clutter your screen very quickly in PvP specifically. So if you don't want to see totems or anything like that, turn these off, especially enemy pets like Demo Warlocks and stuff like that, which is really great. And then you also have this for minor enemies. So if you actually, I think this is for like Demo Warlock imps and stuff like that. You could turn these off, and then like the extra BM Hunter pets, and same with Unholy Death Knights. You turn this off, you won't see those. You only see like the major enemy pet, guardians, and totems. So this is really helpful. I'm happy that they split this up. Friendly player nameplates. I actually don't ever enable friendly player nameplates. I'm not the biggest fan of them, but obviously I think in PvE, I sometimes will put this on just because you could bind this to show friendly nameplates, and I do have a bind for it where I'll toggle on and off just to see where somebody is. So this is a pretty good feature. You can kind of change the settings for both at the same time down here, which is kind of nice. And then you could see minions. So again, you could see friendly pets, guardians, and totems. I personally will not enable this just because, again, it'll clutter your screen. I don't really care too much about like my teammate's pet. Like I really don't care. Friendly NPC nameplates. So this is, you can see the guards over here, Rika right here. You can disable, not see a nameplate, turn them on and off. Show off-screen nameplates. I actually don't know what this means. So if anyone knows what this means, please tell me. Controls where the nameplates for off-screen units are displayed. But if they're off my screen, you know what I mean? I don't actually know. I have this enabled. I'm trying to sneak up on somebody who doesn't have like a nameplate, but I actually don't know what this means. So please, someone share. And then stack nameplates. So I know you probably can't see, but I'll show you. So right now there's no stackable nameplates. And if I go back to nameplates and I want to see them stacked for enemy units, and I move, you could see how this nameplate is stacked above this nameplate. That's what stacking nameplates means. I've actually never been a fan of this. I think a lot of Mythic Plusers really like that feature. So that is awesome. I personally do not like that at all. I want to see exactly where somebody is, because if I see nameplates over here, I'll try to sweep over there instead of over here. So really good settings so far as nameplates go. And then in the final section is where all the customization can happen. And this is some pretty cool stuff. So they have a preview here of what the nameplate will look like, the final version of it. The first thing you can change is the size. So this is just an overall like global scale. So you could change it. It looks like there's 5 different things that you can, 5 different scales you could set it to, between 1 and 5. And I think 2 is a pretty solid number. And then you could change the buff/debuff scale. So these are the buffs, and then these are debuffs here. So you can see you could change the scale. One thing I wish that you could do is kind of scale both like separately, I guess. So instead of having a buff/debuff scale, having a different scale for buffs and debuffs, because this right here, this is a debuff, right? This is crowd control, for example. So right here, if I come over to this right here and I sweep, you can see my leg sweep right here. But I kind of want that to be bigger than like any kind of buff that they have. You know what I mean? So there's stuff like that, which, I think that they could separate. So that could be a good feature that they add. But overall, not terrible. I have this set to 140% just because I kind of like it. And then you have different styles. So right now, this is the default nameplate that you could have. You have Legacy, which is kind of a skinnier, thinner nameplate. You have Thin, which I don't actually see much of a difference. Maybe, yeah, I don't see much of a difference. And then you have Block, which is also kind of nice, kind of similar to the default. And then you have Cast Focus. So You know, there's some differences in kind of like where there are compared to the nameplate, but as far as like style wise, there's really not too much between. I think default and block are the same, and then legacy, thin, and cast focus are like fairly similar. So I just have it set to default. Block's kind of nice too. And then you could display health percentage, health value, and then a rarity icon. So as you can see right here, pretty good stuff here. You can see the target, the percent, and then how much health they actually have, which is very nice to have. You can also see the rarity that they have. So if you see this guy right here has the elite, you turn it off and it's gone. Pretty good. I actually don't like health value either. I mostly just like percentage. I think it just looks cleaner. So I'll probably just keep health percentage. Now, this is very interesting. So cast bar information, I didn't know that they were actually also committing to also like adding cast bars and stuff. I thought it was just nameplate. So this is new to me. So this controls what information is displayed on the cast bar. So you can have the spell name, you can have the spell icon, the spell target, the highlight important cast, and then highlight when you're targeted by the enemy. So all of this is just enabled right here. I have everything enabled right now. I think it's pretty sick. You can see this is what it would look like if someone cast a spell on me, then the target name. So I think that's fantastic. I think if I have maybe friendly nameplates enabled, if someone starts casting something, it would show. But honestly, I'm kind of a fan of it. Yeah, there you go. See, Void Ray targeting the training dummy. Like this, look, consume targeting training dummy. This is clean, by the way. This is super clean. So I'm a big fan of this. I think I do like the settings that they're enabling for the cast bar information. It might seem a little overwhelming at first. I also want to know what highlight important cast mean is another thing. So is there a world where we can change what an important cast is, or does Blizzard just have it like set by default on like certain important spells? I'm sure this is mostly based on PvE, right? Certain things, certain like big spells that are casted by bosses, mobs, I'm sure. But my favorite part of this is highlighting when I'm targeted by an enemy. I need to test this. I would like to test this on if this works for enemy players as well. So if there's an enemy player casting a polymorph on me, is there a world where it can show that? That'd be amazing. But overall, really good with the cast bar information. I'm pleasantly surprised because I didn't think they were going to do anything like that. Aggro display, I don't really, have anything for this. I guess I can taunt, right? Does mistweaver self-provoke? Yeah, we do. So this provoke, I don't see anything too crazy on the nameplate. So someone, maybe it's like a tank thing. I'm not sure. But yeah, no, I guess there's different ways on the nameplates that you could show that you have aggro. Maybe it's because it's a training dummy. It doesn't work. The next thing is enemy NPC buffs and debuffs. So this will show how your buffs, debuffs, and forms of crowd control are displayed on the nameplates of enemy NPCs, and you can also do it for enemy players. So it's the same settings for players and NPCs, so you don't have to worry about PvP, PvE. It's all the same. Mob buffs. So this will show the temporary beneficial effects applied to the unit. Personal debuffs shows the temporary negative effects you have applied to the unit. So this is like CC, right? This is fantastic, or any kind of debuffs you might have. And then shared crowd control. So show the temporary crowd control effects you or your allies have applied to the unit, which is fantastic. Something I wish that they would also do is when I hover over this, I wish it would kind of like highlight what it is. So personal debuffs right here, which is the show the temporary negative effects you have applied to the target. That's this top bar right here, which is awesome. Oh, is this the, wait, is this the aggro thing or no? Oh, maybe it's not. Oh, it is. Yeah, that's interesting. So this is like the red bar behind is the aggro. That's pretty neat. I didn't know that. That's pretty cool. So personal debuff. So this is any debuffs you've applied to the target. And I'll maybe I'll go on a warlock or a DK at the end and show what it would look like with a ton of dots. And then mob buffs and then shared CC. So you see CCs over here. And then debuffs you put the target are here. Mob buffs, I'm assuming, are to the left here. So right here, if I go to crowd control this target, you can see my in cap is right here. And if I try a leg sweep, if I tried a Song of Chi-Ji, boom, look at that. It's actually really nice. This is nearly identical to what I have on retail now, and it's really clean. Like, this is super clean. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I love this a lot. I don't know why the name is on the target though. Like, I get that it doesn't show the name when I'm not targeting, but when I don't want to see the name at all. I thought that was an option for the nameplate, but maybe it isn't. Friendly NPC nameplate? No. Yeah, I don't want to see any names, but maybe that's a separate option somewhere that I just don't see. But very, very cool. And the same thing for enemy players as well. You could see enemy buffs, you could see personal debuffs, and then CC or anything like that. So that is fantastic. Really, really helpful for anyone that's trying to get into PvP, PvE. You just have all the nameplate settings right here. So then you have, so this is interesting as well, friendly player buffs and debuffs. So the same thing that you can see on enemy nameplates, you could see on friendly nameplates. So for example, if I want to see buffs that I've given to somebody, I'm pretty sure if I put Renewing Mist, it should show up to the left here. No. Interesting. I'm not applying it to them. Wait, do I need to come over here? Yeah, there we go. Oh, I was like a little confused there. So I put Renewing Mist. Look at this. So it looks like they have a priority, or Blizzard has some kind of priority on... Oh, it's worried. That's sick. So Blizzard has some kind of priority baked in where it'll show certain buffs, because you could see I have Renewing Mist, Sphere of Hope, Soothing Mist, and Envelop Mist. I have four hots or 4 buffs I have on Worried right now, but I'm only seeing 2. So I don't know if there's some kind of threshold where... or some kind of way to add more. That would be fantastic, right? Because maybe I want to see more than that. I don't personally want to, but maybe some people will, right? That would be fantastic. Maybe some kind of slider here that shows I want to see 5 buffs on a friendly player. I only want to see 1 or 2, something like that. And then maybe some way to change the priority of spells that you want to see on a nameplate. That would also be fantastic. And it's the same settings as the other things too. So personal buffs, you show the temporary beneficial effects you have applied to the player, which would probably be like Life Cocoon. Let me see where Life Cocoon goes. So Life Cocoon is right here, which is fantastic. I mean, it's always nice to see where Life Cocoon is. And then you also have the CC. So if your teammate gets put into crowd control, you will see the crowd control that the enemy that your teammate is put in. And then you could also see any negative effects that are on. So I'm assuming like if a Warlock puts a dot on your teammate, you could see that dot. Now, the biggest thing I want to see is being able to personalize what buffs and debuffs I want to see, right? So right now, currently, I think it's a really good starting place for it. But I would love to have the option to only see certain debuffs on nameplates for my teammates, like Unstable Affliction, right? That's a really important debuff that I want to dispel. Maybe I only want to see that, and that's the only thing I want to see. Or like crowd control, right? I only want to see CC. So you just want to do this, right? So you can have the big debuff. I don't want to see anything on my teammate at all except for CC. You just disable this, and I wish that I could move this to like the top. So certain customization like that would be nice, but I think we're at a good, a pretty good starting area, I would say. And then debuff padding, you can kind of change like where it is compared to the nameplate. Simplify nameplates. So this is interesting. So this allows you to give you a little bit more control whether the nameplates of certain types are displayed in more simple way, I guess. So if you want friendly NPCs to be in like smaller or a different size, you can kind of have that. You can also do it with friendly players too. So you can see how it shrinks down a little bit. I think it still has the same settings. Let me see. So it doesn't. Okay. I don't know why you would enable it, but I guess you want to see your friendly nameplates, right? So I guess you would enable this if you want to see friendly nameplates, but you don't want to see like all the clutter on your screen. I do like that they've added this option. Actually, this is actually kind of nice. I mean, everything is just so clean. So this is what the nameplate will look like if you enable the simplify nameplates for all of these things, which I'm a fan of. I'm actually a big fan of that. What I would do personally, like I'm gonna, by the way, get rid of Plater because I love Plater. I love what it looks like, but I've always said if there's some way to do it in game, I'll do it. So if it was up to me, if I was, as soon as midnight goes out, I'll probably enable like something like this. I probably won't enable friendly nameplates if I'm being quite honest with you, and I probably won't do this. I don't know what this does, but I'll do it. I won't stack either, and then I'll probably enable all this and then keep like just simple stuff like this. And I think this is pretty nice. Like this is a good starting point. I'm going to jump on a toon right now that has a bunch of dots and kind of show what the debuffs look like on the enemy nameplates. So what's cool is it looks like it actually saves my settings from player to player, so it would be nice to have a different profile as well. Is there a way to change profiles on this? No, it doesn't look like there's a way. Maybe in edit mode? Maybe different edit modes. Let me go to modern real quick and go to nameplates and see if anything changed. No. So it also would be nice to be able to have different layouts because in PvP and PvE, you kind of want to pay attention to different things. So that would be nice. But I think overall, yeah, good start. So I'm on a Warlock right now. I would very much appreciate it if no one judged me for what you're about to see. Okay. But this is what it looks like when you have 3, is this a dot right here? 4 dots. So pretty nice, actually. I'm not gonna lie, this is pretty good. And then you can see it scales down when you're not targeting somebody. Not bad. Can I, is this, what is this? What is this, Seed of Corruption? Oh my god, it's been so long since I played an Affy Warlock. Dear lord. But yeah, I mean, this is what it would look like. So, isn't there, where's Unstable Affliction? Yeah, give me Unstable Affliction. Let me get all the dots in the game, okay? So this is everything, right? Dot. Is this a dot? No, this is a dot. This is a dot. Oh, this is a curse though, right? Oh, but you don't see curses. Interesting. I don't know if that's an option or not. But yeah, I mean, so this is what it would look like. I'm sure maybe Unholy Death Knight maybe had more dots, but this is about 4 dots. And then if you want to fear somebody and CC them, you see CC there. So overall, I mean, I keep saying it over and over again, but I really think Blizzard nailed it with these nameplate settings. I think there just needs to be a little bit more customization. Just the number of buffs that you could put on enemy nameplates, or the number of debuffs you can put on enemy nameplates for CC, and then a little more of a priority and the number of buffs you put on your teammates or your friendly nameplates. And I think this is going to be more than enough for 99% of players. So that is pretty much it for me. That is all the settings that I have. I don't see any more. But I'd love to know your thoughts. If anyone has any questions, please let me know. I am more than happy to answer any questions you might have. And that is it for me. Hope everyone has a fantastic rest of your day. Hope you enjoy the video. I'll see you later.